sensible place. So
Can you tell us where we are? What's happening?
we're at 75 Sterling Street, which is the Sterling Street Sanctuary and Nature Reserve. And this is 1.5 acres of what was once the Seal Test parking lot. So trucks parked here and trucks were repaired here. So as you look around, you're going to see places where there's still gravel and concrete and just junk in the ground. And this earth is kind of polluted and kind of gross. And that's why we're here. And that's the beautiful part, right? So we're here, we've got this 1.5 acres. It could be capped, so legally they can put 3 inches of concrete over this, call it capped, and then put homes and families above this. What we know is that that's not healthy. And then there's a whole bunch of beautiful ways to remediate this land and make it beautiful, healthy place for people to do stuff. So that's what we're doing here. We are right now raising $500,000. We are almost halfway there. We're raising $500,000. $250,000 to purchase the property, and then a whole other $250,000 to make this land beautiful and clean, so that this can be a model for the rest of the country that says when you have an economically depressed neighborhood that everyone has given up on and it's got dirty land, we don't all just have to roll our eyes and say, oh well, we can make it better and clean it. So that's what we're doing here. And so this is the learning lab where we do the cultural humility work. This is the Heritage Garden, and this is Hartford. And Hartford has a whole bunch of black folks, and a whole lot of West Indian folks, and a whole lot of bunch of other folks who are people in diaspora who don't like each other and don't trust each other for all of these reasons that colonialism gave us, right? And so we can go all over the entire United States of America, and we can look at immigration patterns, and we can look at laws, and we can look at how green cards work, and we can look at definitely agriculture, right? But we can look at all of these things, and we see this perfect storm on why we hate each other, but we don't know how to get out of it. So here, we got tobacco, right? And when we get together, like black people will get together and talk about Jamaicans till the day is over. But then we don't do this, right? Jamaicans love to talk about us. We don't do this, right? And then we also get to this really uncomfortable place of lying, that nice lying, that like, I don't have a problem with Jamaicans. I love Haitians. Like, no.
Polite society.
We're so polite, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't move us forward. There's no way. So this is the KCC garden. So we've got kale, collard greens, and callaloo. Because I can tell you as a black person, this is no longer true. Up until last year, this is true. I would say I got no clue how to cook that. I know.
Yeah, I was.
But it's here for conversation. So clearly the conversation is doing what it's supposed to do, right? Because when we get to this place of like not understanding each other and all that good stuff, so we know that black people were here. And then the Great Migration happened, and southern country black folks moved up here, and the northern black folks were not too happy. But then we ended up with this black community, right? And then the civil rights movement happened, and then immigration shit changed. And then all of a sudden, black Americans who refused to work for very low wages decided to take some autonomy. When Jamaicans who are coming from a completely different country with different laws, all kinds of different, were invited to come up here legally, and were invited to take these jobs that for them were very, very well-paying jobs, because in their country, the cost of living. So we end up in this place like, what do we know? Jamaicans know that black people are lazy as hell and won't work. We weren't working when they got here because we wanted to be paid a living wage, and we wanted to be treated with respect. We know that they love white people and do anything for $1. They came here because of immigration. So all of these sick, disgusting ways that colonialism pits us against each other, right? So the KCC garden, that conversation isn't an easy conversation to step into. But if I come here and I start talking about the callaloo, and I talk about the way that I make the callaloo, and I make the callaloo the way my grandmother taught me to make the callaloo, we start having different conversations. And I can then start talking about collard greens, and how my grandmother taught me how to cut collard greens, etc. And we can start moving over those things. And then we get into the deeper conversations, but it's a fun way to definitely remove the white gaze. And a big piece here is to believe that in Harvard, for all of the reasons, we haven't been allowed to really do this with each other. We've been allowed to do this. So this is a place where this is. Yep.
And so why are we here today, Kamora?
Oh,
Why is Nick here today?
We are here to walk with leadership, so we're going to get over to the Labyrinth. And I spend a lot of time talking about the nonprofit industrial complex and all the different ways that comes up. But one thing that really ends up happening, and definitely in marginalized communities, is that this groupthink thing happens, and residents give up their autonomy, whether they do it consciously or not. So powers on high, people who are not us, tell us what our issues are. As a resident of Hartford, I can tell you that when what was it, in employment or educational opportunity, EAI, educational alternatives, and when Hartford Public High School lost its accreditation, right? I was a parent in Hartford. There's a whole bunch of us who were parents, and we went down to City Hall because there was supposed to be a meeting where we were going to talk about what our concerns were. And these very nice, well-spoken people who had pieces of paper with shit written all over them came and told us what our issues were. And I said, oh, no. This is what I'm here for because this is what I care about. And someone gave me a piece of paper and looked at me all condescendingly and told me, no. This. So when we wonder why we're disaffected and why we're disaffected voters, Hartford has got, we do a great job in, with voter registration, right? We do a voter registration drive. Everyone signs up. We have wonderful numbers for those. We don't have the same numbers when it's time to get out to vote. Like our numbers when it comes out to vote is abysmal. You can win 4,000 votes, you know that, right? It's disgusting. And a big piece of that is this disaffect. So Greenhouse across the street, they're a whole lot of fun. You listen to those people talk, they got issues. They got issues with a whole bunch of stuff in Hartford, and they've got solutions. No one asks them about what they think, right? So therefore they don't choose to come in and be part of the conversation. Also, this is Hartford. It's mayor's a job, right? And honestly, I'm very happy that Luke is going because I need the person who's the mayor of Hartford to love Hartford, right? And to love Hartford because Hartford's wonderful, and they want to think of Hartford and what their grandchildren are going to live in, what they're going to live in, and how Hartford is going to be for the residents. Not in some way of, and I did this in Hartford, so now I'm ready to go to DC, right? So we don't have space for it. We don't have space for that. Deeper than that, and the more important, and we're coming out from underneath that, right? So we're coming out of this abusive relationship. And as the new person comes in as the mayor, we need to remember, you're just one of us. Whoever that mayor is, it's just a person. So, and as I've been pulling this together, I'm loving what the conversations sound like. And the frustrations that I'm feeling remind me of why this needs to happen. So there have been people like, oh, well, Kamora, can I have so-and-so come with me because we want to talk about, no, this is not a place for you to come and don't give me your 16-year-old, I go to this nonprofit and they told me I'm a leader and I get to ask a question. This is not what we're doing. Do not spend your time formulating some great question to prove to everyone how great you are so you can get your little internship down at the municipal building. So all the dumb crap that we do, right? This is a place for a human being who lives in Hartford to talk to a human being who lives in Hartford. One of them is applying for a job. The other one is on the hiring committee. And this is just a place to have that conversation. Not even an interview. We're not even at the interview. No, this is
exploratory.
You've heard me talk. It's storytelling. Yeah, you've heard me talk.
Exploratory.
And when I talk to people, I'll be like, you know what? That dude cares about Hartford because you know what? I can trust that person because you know what? This person was it Alexander? Who was it? There was someone one time, and it was this wonderful conversation. It was a community conversation, and it was a young guy who wasn't running for anything, but he had a brand new way of thinking about food in downtown, right? And that was wonderful and amazing to hear. But he was no one. He didn't have a job at the right nonprofit. He, for whatever reason, wasn't seen as a wonderful special anything. So his view, his thought, his comment disappeared into the air. We do such a good job at cronyism, nepotism, know the right person, just nonsense in Hartford that we never grow and expand. And so these walks are, hey, get out in my Labyrinth and feel it, right? That's awesome. But really, I'm trying to change the lens there just a little bit. Luke has done a wonderful job of making clear that the mayor is someone special. I grew up with Mayor Mike. I grew up with quite a few, but yeah, Mayor Mike was no one. Mayor Mike was a dude, right? And he was a Hartford dude. And he was beloved and beyond accessible, completely beyond accessible. And then we changed the form of mayor. We got the strong mayor. People felt the need to wield power differently in different ways. And Hartford's always had its issues. But again, if I can just get rid of this idea of the mayor, I love you. Please understand, I'm not saying, Nick, I gotta cut you down to size, because it's you, it's Eric, it's Arun, and it's everyone who's running for mayor. You're a human being.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Hartford, we've got way too many problems, and we play that cult of personality too much. We can't do it. We can't,
You can't be the king on top and expect change. Or queen on top and expect change.
No, you gotta do it.
Cool.
So,
Thank you.
And I built the Labyrinth. because we need to slow down and shut up. Like, we really need to do that. That's something we're great at pontificating all kinds of great stuff, right? And as someone who has been at you know, who's had to deal with all the great ideas that come to Hartford, dumb people who don't live here come up with really cool ideas that they share with three people, and it sounds good, and then they enact them, and then we've got to deal with them for the rest of our lives, right? So this weekend, what's happening? Taste of Hartford. That never came to fruition. What do you call it? Constitution Plaza was a wonderful idea. If you ever look at the actual plans of what was supposed to happen, it was a great idea. Some dumbass people with way too much money and way too much influence got in, said some stuff. We let them do it, and now, yay, Taste of Hartford. Let's look at it being used, right? It's not used. So then we can talk about Dillon Stadium. We can talk about McCook Hospital. Like, there's so many of these issues that we can talk about that if the people who ruled us shut up and met with us and talked with us, then things could be different. So the Labyrinth, and we'll go over there, we'll discuss exactly how the Labyrinth works. Hey, beautiful woman! Come on in, I need to talk to you. Then tell your son to call me, but I need to talk to you. Okay, let me come on over there. Because that's a Hartford problem. Let me go deal with that. But really, we've got all of these interesting ideas. So the Dillon Stadium thing, and this is boring.